Hello, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be covering iFX Rack by Gospel Musicians. It's going to be a big video, so I recommend pulling up a chair and getting comfortable. We got a lot to cover. iFX Rack is a analog modeled virtual effects rack for the iOS device. They partnered with Overloud and brought to life the ever popular VKFX suite, which I guess was a highly sought after effects suite for the PC or the computer. So what that means, they brought a meticulously crafted recreation of the effects processors for their hardware and brought it into the iOS world. iFX Rack reminds me of the old school effects units, hardware effects racks, where you insert your effect unit into the slots and screw them in and wire them up, and you can carry them on stage, or they're mounted in the studio. So the beauty of iFX Rack is that you can switch the effects simply by sliding the effects up and down, and I'll show you that in a minute. So right now I'm using my sub-series Stingray. That's no processing right there. That's just the bass going through AUM. I love the sound of this bass. Still really enjoying it. So what I'm going to demonstrate today is I'm not going to go through every single detail, because there's just, a couple of units alone in there. You could spend an hour going through everything in it. Especially the amp simulator. And one thing I want to note also is that Gospel Musicians came out with some in-app purchases also. I think the in-app purchase previously was the IMPULStation, which is a convolution reverb. So real quick, the current in-app purchases, and they're all really reasonably priced. They're like $6.99, I believe. The first one is Cloud Reverb. I don't have any of these, by the way, so I'm not going to be demonstrating them. iFX Amp, which on top of the wide assortment of amp simulators that you already have, they added more to it. So you get even more with this iFX Amp purchase. IMPULStation, like I said, I do have that, but I don't have it as an in-app purchase. I have it as a standalone. Drawback for that is that I can't arrange IMPULStation, like before the chorus or after the chorus or whatever. It's either going to be before iFX Rack or after iFX Rack through AUM. So that's one drawback of buying the standalone version. Fat filter and talkbox, both intriguing effects that I don't have but would love to try. So I'm going to activate iFX Rack. You can make your own presets. It has a ton of presets to choose from. The initial one is blank, of course. I'll just hit the first preset that comes up, and it's an acoustic one. But it's very nice. So don't be afraid to try these if you play the bass or any other instrument. All of these presets are very well crafted and sound great. Here's a preset for bass. Pretty good sounding presets. And there's a ton of presets to choose from. I will be going through some of them, but what I'm going to go through right now is crafting your own. I'm going to go to user presets here. User bank. And this is the amp. This is what I had in the beginning of the video. This is the preset that I made. Just lovely. This is one I really love too. It has a great auto wah. I mean, that is just nasty, man. I mean, I love it. And you can just come up with just unlimited types of effects. So just standard. Let me clear this so I'm not making noise while I'm talking. I'm going to go back to the initial preset. When you first purchase, you get a preamp, a 2-band EQ, stereo auto pan, analog chorus, tube amp with a 3-band EQ, spring verb, envelope, and a dynamic wah filter. That's what we just heard. The auto compressor, a phase shifter, overdrive, multi-tap delay. And then in-app purchase, you get 17 additional effects. And with that, you get master limiter, 11-band EQ, subharm, amp and speaker simulator combo, degrade, detune, rotor, dim ND. That's a chorus. Stereo widener, stereo enhancer, amp simulator, F verb, M verb, spring verb, flanger, fantasy verb. So you get a lot of reverbs, a lot of effects, 17 of them. Very impressive. Right out of the box, the amp. So to add an effect, you long press on the slot that you want to add. I'm going to go to amp. And this is the amp that you get initially, the preamp. So I'm going to add one of the in-app purchases, which is the compressor. Now, the thing I prefer about compressors is when you add a compressor, you don't really want to notice that it's there. And the compressor from Gospel Musicians does exactly that. When you put it in, it's smooth. And the initial settings really are kind of spot on for me. I don't even need to tweak them. They already have them set just right for me. So we go to Dynamics, click Compressor. Now, like I said, you're not even going to notice that the compressor's there, but it does, it smooths things out a bit. You can hear a little change when I activate it and deactivate it. All right, so slot 1 and slot 2, and a master slot. Each slot 1 and 2, you get 5 effect slots, which is impressive. I believe on the iPad, the screen is already enlarged where you don't have to scroll up and down. The only downfall on an iPhone, which is what I use, you have to scroll up and down, which is not a big deal. Slot 1 and 2, 5 effects, and the master is, think of it as like you're honing your sound or finalizing, like the master, like you would do in a studio. You would master the final track. So with this, you have the 11-band EQ, a compressor, and a master limiter. And that's basically just kind of improve the sound, the final sound. Okay, so now I'm going to add a chorus. Long press on the slot, go to chorusing, and choose chorus. And that's the chorus that comes with the initial purchase of the app. Oh, another thing I like about these effect slots is if you long press on the knob, it brings up a menu where you can switch to the initial value, or you can have it do MIDI learn, which is very nice. So if you've got a controller that you want to dedicate to tweaking the knobs within the app, you can do that. So it's very nice. Here you have several different types of choruses to choose from. Slow the speed down a little bit. Increase the depth. Very nice. All right, so I'm going to make, I believe, let's see. All right, so we got the chorus in there. Now I'm going to go with a multi-tap delay because that's another effect that's included in the initial purchase. Go to delay, and there's only one to choose from. Have it go as quick or as slow as you want. right, so here I'm going to add the chorus. Oh, another thing that I like about these effects too, there's a lot of things I like about this unit. When you reinsert the effect that you initially had, it has like a state save. It remembers the settings that you had for the previous time that you had the effect in. So it's very nice, very convenient, so you don't have to go back and reset everything. So I'm going to add the chorus. And there we got it. Now I want the chorus before the delay. So nice feature. All you have to do is long press and drag it up or down. Oops, I changed the value. And there we go. Now I got it. Very beautiful. Very, very beautiful. I mean, with just these effects, these three effects right here, I could sit for an hour and just play and make up stuff. So now on the iPhone, we got 4 effects so far. So I got 1 slot left. What do I want to add there? We're going to go with the stereo auto pan. That's also included in the initial purchase. So you don't have to get the in-app purchase, but the in-app purchase is $10 and you get just an amazing amount of effects for the $10. So, I mean, it's really worth it. Let's see, is the stereo auto pan? Let's try that. Now, headphones definitely recommended for this. So it's just wavering back and forth. Now we're going to add some reverb here. So what I got to do now that I ran out of slots, or not slots, but I ran out of room in slot 1, you tap on slot 2. Now I've got a full 5 blank slots to choose from. Same thing, long press. And you go with reverbs. And spring verb is the included initial purchase. And it's very accurate sounding spring verb, and it's right there. All kinds of little presets within the effect. Very nice. I'm going to add some distortion here. We got overdrive that's included with the in-app purchase, not the in-app purchase, with the initial purchase. All right, there we go. We got distortion drive, distortion/drive, overdrive. And now I'm going to put the overdrive before the reverb. Long press and drag, and there you go. Let's get more drive in there. Let's get that delay off. That's nasty. And nasty means good. I love it. So that's a small example of what you can do with the initial purchases. Virtually anything. All right, so I'm going to get it back to the initial preset. There we go. Now we're blank. So I'm going to go through some of the in-app purchases. One of them is the amp simulator that I really like. I believe the one I'm looking for is the amp sim. Now there's a ton that you can choose from, speaker and mic combos, Friedman style, J Power tube. My favorite is the Fen Champ, which is a miscellaneous. Tone that down a little bit. I'm going to put a compressor after it. Dynamics and then compressor. Smooths it out a little bit. Now we're going to go into, I'll hit the chorus that's included in the in-app purchase. Dimen D, and it's a very nice, very warm chorus. Oh, I had the effects all the way down at the bottom. No problem. I can just slide them up. All right, I'm going to turn the Dimen D off. I'm going to add a phaser. Old school phaser. I love it. They're all very clean, very nice sounding effects, very, like they said, meticulously recreated. Let's try the flanger. Now the flanger comes in and it's got a very fast rate to it. Nice sound of flanger. So I'm going to head into the detuning, into the tuning section. Initially, I thought that it was a tuner. But this is where you get sort of like a octaver effect and another one that detunes channels, and it makes sort of like a, almost like a phaser, stereo phaser type effect. So detune. You can hear it wavering. It's got the channels slightly out of tune. Now I'm going to open up the patch that I created because I've got like a really nice setup with the detune to make it like an octaver effect, and I can't remember the settings that I did. All right, so I'm going to load my preset because there's something with the tuner section. You can make a nice octave effect, and it's with the subharm. I can't remember the settings that I had, so I'm just going to reload my funk bass setting. So I'm going to shut everything off. Ottawa. Dim D. Overdrive. Overdrive was off. And I'll leave the amp simulator on. So it looks like I have it set for invert. Oh, let me get that delay off. I have the delay in the slot 2. Very nice, very nice. So you literally have every effect that you could ever dream of as a guitarist, bassist. They try to cover a lot of different areas and regions also. There's like an organ section, which I do have set up here. I have a jazz organ So let me get out of this. Oh, yeah, so I'm going to demonstrate vocal. I'm going to demonstrate drums and organ. There's a lot of sections. I mean, they got like acoustic, they got electric guitar. So I'm just going to go through some of the sections that I have set up. So here's organ. I'm using the Roland Sound Canvas. Oldie but a goodie. It's one of my favorites. It's no longer in the App Store, and I'm very sad about that. So here's the organ just by itself. Now here it is with their organ selection. Go in the factory presets. There's organ. Smoky fast. And I just took a screenshot. Smoky fast. I'm not an organ. I'm not a keyboard player, as you know. Reminds me of those gritty old 70s organs. It's got some nice bass to it. All right, so that's the organ. Turn that off. And drums. For this one, I'm using Digisticks. We just get so the bass head's not in the way of the camera. So that's it by itself. I think I'm going to have to turn the organ up. I got the MIDI on the same channel, so it's triggering the keyboard also, or the organ. It sounded kind of cool, though. So we go into the iFX Rack factory presets, and I'm going to find drums. There's drums. Now, there's only two, but you can make your own. Kind of crazy, very heavily filtered. All right, we're going to go into vocals now. Scary monster. Scary monster. String ensemble. And string ensemble for voice. Synth box. So you can do a lot. So that's just to show that there's more to it than meets the eye. You can do for any instrument that you want, vocals, drums, synthesizers, acoustic instruments, whatever you want. So this is not just limited to guitars. So this brings us to IMPULStation. IMPULStation is a convolution impulse reverb. And then for those of you that don't know what like an impulse reverb or impulse unit is, I don't know the exact science behind it, but they use special equipment to record environments. They transmit like sounds, special sounds, and then re-record the sound that is a digital sample of that environment. So you can make a cathedral, anything that you want. Like you could have an amplifier be an IMPULStation. You can have anything that you want be an IMPULStation as long as you can convert it. So what the IMPULStation reverb does from gospel musicians is it comes loaded with its own IMPULStations, but you can import your own IMPULStations, which is really, really cool. I don't know many reverbs in iOS right now that does this. So the initial patch is just kind of a roomy. I mean, it's really nice. So you can feed this through drums and it sounds great. I mean, it just adds like a nice room sound, and that's the initial patch. So what I did, and the developers encourage you to do this. It even says in the App Store when you purchase the app that. So what I did with a little guidance was do a search for impulse response reverb. So after I searched impulse response reverb, literally like thousands of results came up. There's just thousands of free reverbs for you to choose from. And you can import these. So basically what you got to do is from the web, import them into a folder, which I already have pre-selected in IMPULStation. And I'm going to show you how to import them in to into the app. So initially, factory presets, there's hundreds to choose from also. So I'd almost say that you don't need to. You almost don't need to import any, but I mean, there's just, if you want to get fancy or experiment, and just try different things out. Definitely, I encourage you to get out there and search and import your own. You can even create your own if you want, if you have the technology. So let's just, this one that I pulled up. This is not an imported one. This is a preset. All right. So I'm not going to go through all the presets because there's literally just a mind-blowing amount already in there. But I will show you how to do is import your own. So you can go into here, which imports, not imports, but it loads presets in the top menu. So that's how you get to presets. Top menu. And once you get into menu, you can scroll back and forth. Long diffuse. There's any type of reverb that you want. So let's import an impulse. Right below the top menu, DP4 Beauty, there's another menu, and that's where the impulses are loaded. On the iPad version, you get a visual of what the impulse looks like, a waveform of what the impulse looks like. On the iPhone version, you don't get that, which is fine. So you tap on the little menu. This is fantasy verb. Now to import, you go to user impulses. You have to select a bank. If you don't have a bank, you can make your own bank. And you'll notice on the far right menu, it says you have a little import button. And you got import. You can do a whole folder, which will put it in the bank section, and it'll be titled the folder's title. Or an individual impulse response. So these are impulse responses that I have imported. It's a Echo Thief response library, which I guess they're calling me an Echo Thief, even though they're free. So from here, you have these little WAV files. And that's the format that these files have to be. They have to be WAV. Tells me success. The import was successful. So it kind of keeps the settings that you had before. Let's do a different impulse. Select that. You can see that I got Cathedral down here. Oh, there we go. So I didn't change. I didn't tap on the impulse after I imported it. So here we go. Here's the actual one that I imported. Now you can tweak your settings. A little less wet. Another thing about just iFX Rack in general that I like is that if you double tap on a knob, you can do your initial, like an exact setting. I think I may have mentioned that already. On the far right too, you have different types of filters that you can add. I haven't messed around too much with the filters because I just really never use them much on my reverbs. Let's do another impulse. Select our bank. Import. And I'll just do the first one that's there. Import successful. So now you have to select your impulse and see what this one sounds like. can hear each one has its own personality. And what's cool about it is that they are actual environments that have been recreated. So the names of these impulses will kind of direct you to what type of environment it is typically. Really cool delay. Like I said, not delay, really cool reverb. Really cool reverb. Like I said, it's very unique. I don't know many that allow you to import your own impulse. So there you have it. iFX Rack and IMPULStation. Like I said, virtually limitless, and they definitely are inspiring. You can hear, the beginning track that I did. That was just a spontaneous thing that this preset that I created inspired me to do. So you can do the same, and at a very affordable price. You can have your own multi-effect rack unit for pennies. So, you can't beat it. Definitely frequently overlooked app in the App Store. A lot of people recommend other things. I highly recommend iFX Rack. So I appreciate you guys checking in, and I appreciate you guys sticking with me. If you did, please remember to hit that like button, and always remember to be kind, like, and subscribe.